Once upon a time, when camels told truths and fleas had knees, two neighbors lived in a forest village. Both families had one daughter each. One of the girls was born with a smile. She spread rays of sunshine wherever she walked. The other girl did nothing but frown. She brought doom and gloom wherever she walked. The villagers called one girl Miss Sunshine and the other Miss Raincloud. In time, even their families forgot their real names. They started calling their daughters by the names the villagers had given them. As fate would have it, Miss Sunshine's family were quite poor, whereas Miss Raincloud had been born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Every morning, Miss Sunshine went into the forest, gathered herbs and greens, and took them home for her mother to cook. One day, she set out into the forest once more. She traveled far and wide, but could not find any of the plants she was looking for. Just then, she happened upon a pear tree. When it saw Miss Sunshine, the tree started to speak. "Miss Sunshine, would you trim my branches and tend to my soil? If you do, the day will come when you pick my pears." Miss Sunshine trimmed the branches and tended to the tree's soil. She walked further still and happened upon a dried-up, broken old drinking fountain. The fountain said, "Would you clean me up and repair me? If you do, the day will come when you drink from my cold water." Miss Sunshine did as the fountain asked and went on her way. She happened upon an oven, covered all in ash. The oven started to speak. "Miss Sunshine, would you clean me up good and proper? If you do, the day will come when I bake you pastries and cakes." Miss Sunshine gave the oven a good clean and went on her way. She reached the riverbank. What should she see but a sweet little lamb about to fall in? She quickly got the lamb out of harm's way and helped it catch up to the flock. Then Miss Sunshine happened upon a whinnying horse with a hurt foot. Miss Sunshine saw that a thorn was lodged in the horse's foot and pulled it out. By this time, Miss Sunshine was so tired, she laid down in the shade of a tree and fell asleep. After sleeping a while, she woke to a most wondrous sight. The horse that was whinnying with pain a moment ago was jumping for joy. The horse started to speak. "Nay, Miss Sunshine, you helped me. Now I will get you home. What's more, I have a sack of gold on my back. Let's take it to your family." Miss Sunshine mounted the horse, and they made their merry way back to her house. On the way home, Miss Sunshine got very cold. Just then, a little lamb came and laid a jumper before her. "Bah! Miss Sunshine, you helped me. Now I've brought you a jumper made of my soft wool." Miss Sunshine put on the jumper. Further down the road, she passed by the pear tree, now heavy with fruit. "Miss Sunshine, you helped me, so my fruit grew sweet and ripe. Eat as much as you can," the tree said, and reached out a branch to the girl. Finally, Miss Sunshine made it back home. The rooster saw her return and crowed a Turkish poem, a mani. "Here comes a horse, so I am told. With Miss Sunshine home she strolled. In her hand, what does she carry? A heavy sack filled up with gold. Cock-a-doodle-doo!" Miss Sunshine's mother was overjoyed to see her daughter and the gold she brought home. She ran to her daughter and gave her a big hug. Their neighbor heard the rooster's mani and saw the gold. She became jealous and thought, "So what? My daughter can do just as well." So she sent Miss Raincloud to the forest. In the forest, Miss Raincloud happened upon the same pear tree Miss Sunshine had helped. The tree asked her, "Would you trim me?" Miss Raincloud thundered, "No way, you old tree! I'm my mother's only precious daughter. You think I would bow down to your silly branches?" Miss Raincloud mumbled under her breath as she went on her way. The drinking fountain asked her, "Would you repair me?" Miss Raincloud thundered, "No way, you old fountain! I'm so precious I do as I please. You think I would put my nose to the grindstone to fix your silly self? She said about the same to the oven and horse with a thorn in its foot. She also ignored the lamb about to fall into the river. Miss Raincloud grumbled and rumbled so much that she grew tired. She laid down in the shade of a tree and fell asleep. By the time Miss Raincloud woke to the sound of the horse whinnying, night was falling. While she worried about how she would make her way home, the horse said, "Nay, Miss Raincloud, you did not help me, but I will still get you home. See the sack on my back? You can take it home to your family." Miss Raincloud mounted the horse with glee, because the sack on the horse's back was just like the one Miss Sunshine brought home, filled with gold. They hit the road. Just as Miss Raincloud started getting cold, the lamb came up to them. "Bah! I hope you freeze, Miss Raincloud. You didn't help me, so I won't give you even a lock of my soft wool." Miss Raincloud went on her way, getting angrier and hungrier by the minute. As luck would have it, the oven was full of pastries and cakes, but it didn't even let Miss Raincloud get a whiff of what was inside. Nor did the fountain give her any water. The pear tree, which had offered Miss Sunshine its ripest, sweetest fruits, lifted up all its branches when Miss Raincloud passed by, so the girl could not reach. Miss Raincloud started to see the error of her ways, but still did not apologize to the horse who graciously helped her home. She thought to herself, "I got a sack full of gold. What do I care about pears or pastries? What do I care of water or wool?" Finally, home was on the horizon. The rooster saw them and started to crow. "Here comes a horse, so I am told. With Miss Raincloud home she strolled. In her hand a heavy sack. What's inside, what does it hold? Cock-a-doodle-doo!" Miss Raincloud's mother, hearing talk of a sack, grabbed it out of her daughter's hand and hastily opened it up. Oh, what a sight she did see! Creepy, crawly snakes and centipedes slithered out of the sack, which should have been full of gold. Just as they set upon Miss Raincloud and her mother, Miss Sunshine came to the rescue and called out, "Stop! Miss Raincloud and her mother have seen the error of their ways. They won't be jealous ever again. They won't be arrogant ever again. Come now, to each their own. Let's all go home." The creepy, crawly snakes and centipedes forgave Miss Raincloud and her mother and slithered off into the sunset. From that day on, Miss Raincloud and Miss Sunshine became the best of friends, and the two families lived together in harmony. 3 apples fell from the sky, 1 on Miss Sunshine's head, 1 on Miss Raincloud's, and the last one on the head of the one who told this story.